You ever wonder how companies like Netflix or Amazon can push out updates to their apps like almost every single day and somehow nothing breaks? Well, the secret is this whole philosophy called DevOps. And today, we are going to break down exactly what that is and how it all works.
So, we've all been there, or, we've at least heard of developers say that infamous line, but it works on my machine, right? That one single, incredibly frustrating problem. That is the absolute core of why DevOps even exists. It's all about closing that crazy gap between I wrote the code and the code actually works for everyone else.
And look, the stakes here can be incredibly high. We're talking about those critical apps, what engineers call P0 or priority zero. For these, one bad deployment can cause a massive outage. I mean, just imagine if something like ChatGPT suddenly went down. That could totally tank a company's reputation, cost them millions. So yeah, having a rock-solid process isn't just nice to have, it's completely non-negotiable. And that process is DevOps. But, and this is super important, DevOps isn't some job title you can hire for, and it's not a single piece of software you can just buy. It's really a cultural shift. It's a whole set of practices designed to bring the developers, the people writing the code, and the operations teams, the people keeping it all running, together. The whole point is to just tear down those old walls between them. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The before picture, you had teams working in their own little worlds, in silos. Releases were slow, they were manual, and honestly, they were super risky. But the after picture? Well, now you've got this culture of shared ownership, of real collaboration. And the goal is simple, but it's so powerful. Build faster, deploy safer, and create a process that's gonna last. Okay, so how do we actually do all this? Well, it all comes down to a really clear framework. Let's dive into what's called the DevOps lifecycle and see how this gives us a repeatable roadmap for shipping software. So this lifecycle has 7 key stages. First up, you got a plan, right? Figure out what you're even building. Then, obviously, you develop it. You write the code. After that, the code gets built into an actual functional app. And then comes a really important part. It gets tested rigorously. Once it passes all the tests and gets the green light, it's time to release and deploy it out into the wild. But here's the thing, the cycle doesn't really end there, because now you have to constantly monitor it to make sure everything's running smoothly and to catch any new issues. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, doesn't it? But to actually make this whole life cycle happen, especially the automation piece, we're going to need some powerful tools. And this, my friends, is where the real magic begins. All right, to really get started, there are 2 absolutely essential tools that are pretty much the bedrock of any DevOps workflow. One is for managing your code, and the other is for managing the environment where that code runs. Let's break them down. So first up is Git. The best way to think about Git is like a super-powered undo button for your entire project. It's a system that runs right there on your own computer, and it just meticulously tracks every single change you make to your code. Every little addition, every deletion, every single modification, it's all there. Now, one thing that trips a lot of people up is the difference between Git and GitHub. Here's the dead simple way to remember it. Git is the tool on your machine. GitHub is the service up in the cloud where you store all your Git projects. It's basically like a Google Drive, but made specifically for code. And that makes it perfect for backing things up and, of course, for working with a team. Okay, so Git and GitHub have us covered for managing the code itself. But what about that original problem we talked about? You know, the whole it works on my machine thing, where a developer setup is totally different from the live server? For that, we need our second building block. And that brings us to the container. Seriously, the easiest way to picture a container is just like a shipping container, but for your code. It's this neat, self-contained little package that bundles up your application, all of its libraries, all of its settings. Literally everything it needs to run is packed right there inside that one box. And this is exactly why containers are such a game changer. They totally standardize the environment. Because everything is packaged up together, you just eliminate all those frustrating mismatches. No more, oh, you're in a different version of that library, or this operating system is different. Your app is guaranteed to run the exact same way on your laptop as it does in the cloud. Problem solved. All right, let's put it all together now. We've got our code managed with Git. We've got our app neatly packaged in a container. Now, we can build the ultimate payoff of DevOps, the fully automated pipeline.
This automation is all powered by a concept called CI/CD. The CI stands for continuous integration. That's all about automatically merging code changes from all the different developers into one central spot and then constantly testing it. Then you have the CD part, continuous deployment. That takes the code that passed all the tests and automatically pushes it out to your users. When you put them together, you get this incredibly powerful engine for delivering software.
So here's how this all looks in the real world. A developer finishes some code and pushes it up to GitHub. That one single action kicks off this whole automated chain reaction. A CI server immediately grabs that code, builds it, and runs a whole bunch of tests on it. And if, and only if, everything passes, the CD process takes over and deploys the new version for everyone to use. We're talking from a single command to being live in just minutes, and it's all done without anyone having to manually click a button. And the result of this whole workflow? It's nothing short of transformative. You end up with software delivery that's incredibly fast, way safer thanks to all that automated testing, and it's completely repeatable. You basically take human error out of the equation. So, you see, when you combine smart code management, consistent environments with containers, and these powerful automation pipelines, all those old barriers to building and shipping amazing software, they just disappear. This isn't just a technical change, it's a whole new way of creating, which really just leaves one question. With this kind of power at your fingertips, what are you going to build next?